Welcome to the Just Wanted to Ask podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to our guest today, Kamie Lehmann. And just to let you know, we did do a mini episode. It's episode 7. So I invite you to go back and listen to that as well. It was absolutely wonderful and delightful. So a little bit about Kamie. Kamie Lehmann has been a coach, top leader, visionary, strategist, and trainer in direct sales for over 28 years. Kamie left her job in corporate America more than 20 years ago. This is where her entrepreneurship journey began. On March 2nd, 2020, Kamie launched a top-rated podcast on iTunes called She's Invincible, which ranked at an all-time high of number 42 in the business entrepreneurship category. She has since helped many others launch their own top podcasts. Kamie is the owner of Kamie Lehmann Coaching and Consulting and the Be Invincible Podcast School, which we'll hear more about later. At Be Invincible, Kamie teaches entrepreneurs how to launch their own top podcasts and use them to grow their business. So welcome, Kamie. It's so great to have you here again. And so today we're going to find out more about the podcast school and how you actually started.
Oh my gosh, Anne, it's so great to be back. Thank you. Thank you so much.
What is it that you love best about podcasting?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I would have to say it is having the conversations. I get to have some of the most amazing conversations with the most amazing, invincible people. And it is so fun. It is educational. I feel like I got just in these last 2 years, I think I have like a PhD from all the things that I have learned. It is just the most incredible thing to learn from other people. And so I think that that's been the most fun for me.
That's wonderful. And that's what I love about podcasts as well. I love hearing the backstories of all of your guests and the guests of other people. It's wonderful. So when I know that in each episode, you ask each guest about how they are invincible. What has surprised you about some of their answers?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the question is, what makes you invincible? And so the answers, oh my gosh, Anne, first of all, some people are surprised, like almost taken aback, like I never considered myself to be invincible, right? Like I've gotten those answers, like I never thought about that. Or I wouldn't say I was invincible, which is always fun because by the end of the episode, we both realized that they really were invincible. But some of my favorites have been, one of my guests said, winging it. Well, I wing it, and that makes me invincible because I wing it. I don't have a plan. I just go with the flow, which that's always my favorite answer because I feel like that's what I do. Tenacity. A lot of people have used tenacity as the word that makes them invincible. We've had people say, because I never give up, no matter what. That makes me invincible. Authenticity. Oh my gosh, Anne, like think about that for a minute. Like people live their whole life and they're afraid to let people know like who they are and what those deep secrets are. And for someone to tell you like, my authenticity makes me invincible. Another one is getting back up. So on our show, that is the theme. And that was the theme when we created She's Invincible. It was about not winning. Of course, if it was winning, it would be called undefeated. But being invincible is like getting knocked out. We look at life as like boxing rounds, right? 1 year's good, 1 year's hard, the next year's great, right? But every time you get back in the ring, that bell rings, you get back in. And if you get knocked down, you have to get back up. And that's what makes invincible all across the board. And I think the last most powerful one that I, think of off the top of my head is someone said to me, I am invincible because of me, because of who I am. And I was like, wow, and so it is the most amazing thing to ask someone what makes them invincible. So fun. And what's really cool is that we have mostly women entrepreneurs on the show, but we do have a few great men. And even the men, we ask them to tell us what makes them invincible. And they do, they go with us all the way through and they play with us. And it is amazing just to hear some of the things that we get to enjoy in the show and in the conversation. So I'm going to ask you, because I'm a podcast host, what makes you invincible, Anne?
Well, I have learned that I just don't give up. I'm like that dog with a bone, and I just refuse to let it go. And I'll admit I've made a lot of mistakes in life, but I've learned from them and I've moved on. And it's just one more thing down. I don't see failure as a complete end all to end alls.
I love it.
So it's all attitude.
It is. Invincible is a state of mind. I'm so glad you said that. In being invincible is a state of mind. It's like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. And the more resilient, that's another word that people use a lot when I ask them what makes them invincible, is they're resilient. But the stronger they get, the more times that they have to overcome obstacles, the more strength they have to face the next one. And, you say you made a lot of mistakes. Life is about failing forward. How would you ever learn anything if you weren't willing to put yourself out there and try and attempt something and make mistakes? I mean, as a child is not afraid to make mistakes, right? They make mistakes all day long because they're learning. But somehow we get to a place in our life where we think it's not acceptable as an adult to make mistakes, but we are constantly learning. If we're not making mistakes, we're not making a difference in the world. We're not stretching ourselves and we're not doing anything great. So I say, jump up, put on your boxing gloves, be invincible, and make all the mistakes you can, because the faster you make them, the faster you grow into that next best version of yourself.
For sure. But the other part of it is, as you get older, you have such wonderful stories. And the best stories that I get to tell are the ones where maybe things didn't go just quite right, but it's wonderful to relive those and maybe teach other people how not to relive those. So
I agree. I totally agree. But some people, wouldn't you agree that you meet people sometimes and you shake your head and think, that one wants to make them all themselves and learn the hard way. And it's like, no, learn from me. I already went to the school of hard knocks. But some people are just that stubborn that they're like, nope, let me run into the burning house and make all the mistakes myself. Don't tell me about them. Oh my gosh. So fun.
For sure. So if someone was interested in having their own podcast, where would you suggest that they start?
Oh, this is such a good question. Okay. So, and I actually teach this. I say the first thing to do is be a guest on other people's podcasts. I think that there's no better way than to ease yourself into the idea of doing it yourself. And I have seen so many new podcast hosts who set a goal in 2020 to be on 50 podcasts for the year. And they went around and were podcast guesting for 50 podcasts in a year, which sounds like a lot, but it's really like one a week with a couple of vacations, right? And, it's not a lot of time, but I think that is a great way to see both sides of it. Like, how comfortable am I? And here's the thing, you really can't decide based on being comfortable, because you have to stretch anyway. But it's a good way to just kind of ease yourself in, see what that feels like, and then look at it as a student. Look as the podcast host as the teacher. Watch what they do, listen to what they say, look at the outline that they're using and what order are they asking questions. What kind of questions are they asking? What kind of things are they talking about? Are they having fun? Right? Like these are the things you want to see. Like, why would you do something that wasn't fun or looked really difficult, or, those kinds of things. So, but guesting, I think, is the best first way. And then jump right in. Just jump right in.
Well, that sounds amazing. So tell us about the school. Tell us about your podcast school and what I know that it's special, but let our listeners in on why it is.
Oh, it's so fun. Oh my gosh. Now I just get to like blah, blah, blah on all of you. But so here's what happened. So I went through school to launch my podcast, and I actually enjoyed it so much that I became an affiliate for the school. So I jumped into their affiliate program. And during that time, I had 15 entrepreneurs go through that program. I did their launch coaching. So I did that final launch week. I supported them throughout the program, but I did the final launch week with them and ran that week with them to drive their shows into the top. And every one of those people launched in the top 50. One of them launched number 2 and number 3 in their category. And so I knew like what I was doing as this launch coach was so powerful. And I was actually offered to come on to the school as a coach and do, launch coaching and teach about that. But I decided not to. And then the school took a turn, like they took a shift and they stopped doing the model that they were doing. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I felt so empty because I enjoyed it so much. I just loved helping these entrepreneurs run that race, have put out the best platform they could as far as podcasts go, and then launch and run that week to the top. Like I was on fire. And then all of a sudden it wasn't there anymore. And that's when I knew. I'm like, Anne, they say like, find something you love to do so much and then let somebody pay you for it. And that's when I decided like, I can't live a day without this. This is what really made me so passionate. And so I decided, you know what? You keep telling the world, right? Yeah, you really at some point you have to practice what you preach, right? And I'm telling all my, coaching clients, like, you got to live your best life and do more of what brings you joy and, what makes you smile and laugh out loud. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was it, Anne. Like, seriously, I was least likely to ever have a podcast or start a podcast school. But what I realized was that was what brought me the most joy in work, in career, in making a difference in other people, making an impact in the world, helping entrepreneurs build this platform and then take it to the next level where we could have sales conversations and they could learn to build their business through their podcasting. And that was it for me. And then, my podcast is called She's Invincible. And I thought, how can I not like have a twist on She's Invincible to have this school? And I thought, what would that look like? And I was like, be invincible, right? Because when you come through the program and you launch your top podcast, you are invincible. You feel it, you speak it, you look it, you act it, you are all the things. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's what it is. It is Be Invincible, where I get to help other entrepreneurs have the same experience and step into their best invincible self.
That's amazing. And it's certainly an amazing experience. You have an ability to actually see the possibilities. And also, um, you're an amazing coach, which is incredible because there are a lot of people who can do things, but they're not all that great at coaching, and you certainly are. Um, Plus, I love the questions that you ask at the end because you really get to know the people who are on your show. Uh, I love the fact that you ask the questions at the end about the good, the bad, and the ugly, because people talk about all the great stuff and they don't talk about a lot of the challenges.
Oh, Anne, I have to stop you right there.
So
We have to talk about that. Let's talk about that for a minute. That is so big. So, this is really what inspired me to start this podcast the way that I did with She's Invincible. So, I spent over 20 years in direct sales as a top leader, and I worked predominantly with women, and I helped them launch their own companies. And what I found was that these women, grown women, adults raising children, I just have to be specific here, were comparing themselves to these other successful women, and they were coming up short. They were feeling like they were not enough. They were saying things like, well, she's lucky, she has a great husband, or she doesn't have kids yet. Or, I mean, her kids are already grown and gone. Like, I can't even tell you. She's thin, she's smart, she was born on the right side of the tracks. And I was so frustrated with that in itself that I thought, you know what? These women are comparing themselves to these highlight reels on social media, to these magazines that are publishing these high incomes, the highest income you've ever had. They're not seeing the journey, they're seeing the mountaintop experience. And so one of the things about She's Invincible is that you have to be invincible and you have to be authentic in order to be on the show. If I'm sure every successful entrepreneur has a great story of overcoming some of the most enormous obstacles ever. But if you're not willing to be authentic and share them, how will you help the others? Because we make it look so easy. And then these women are out there. I don't think men really have this, but women are out there. They're taking the journey and it gets hard and they want to quit and they think there's something wrong with them. And I am like, oh my gosh, there is nothing wrong with you. And we need to stop lying. We need to tell them the truth. As successful entrepreneurs, we know don't focus on the obstacles because that's not what brings success. But I do believe once we figure that out, we have a responsibility to go back and tell the others. Like, come with me. I know the way, right? Get them out of the maze, encourage them, tell them stories like, I remember when I was face down on the ground and I didn't think I could take my next breath, let alone stand up. And this is what was going on, but this is what I did. And this is how I got back up. And this is why I'm on the mountain today. And I just think we need to be honest with them so that they stop comparing themselves and they know the truth and they can look at you and say, if Anne can do it, so can I, right? And that is really how this was born. And it really just evolved into everything else that it is. But that is what Invincible was all about. And so that good and the bad and the ugly is our way of celebrating those greatest achievements that you've made, and also to give honor and respect and gratefulness, because you don't feel it in the journey. But when you get to the end of the journey, when you get out of the crisis and you look back, there's this part of you that is so grateful for that obstacle, that big, devastating thing that they had to overcome, that they can look back and blow it a kiss and say, thank you, because it was that made me who I am. And it is that obstacle that brought me to this greatest, next best version of myself. And oh my gosh, it is my favorite part of every interview that I do.
So true. I love that. I absolutely love that. And we all can learn so much. So we've almost come to the end of our wonderful meeting today, although I don't want to go. Now, I would like to close with, so Steve Jobs famously wore black turtlenecks. As you're going out to a meeting, what is your favorite go-to outfit?
Okay, so I kind of fall into the Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg place when it comes to fashion. I have a few favorite dresses, but my go-to outfit is a long sleeve black top that's like stretchy and shiny and like rayon, and it's either long sleeve or 3/4. I have them in every length. And so that is it, with my jeans rolled up and my Lucky Brand camel booty shoes. So that is like, for right now, like that fall winter look, that is what it is. And I have so many of those black shirts that I fall into the Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs category there. Which black shirt should I wear today? It's actually a genius idea, because you go in the closet, you don't have to think about what you're going to wear. How many people go in and try on 5 things? This doesn't fit right. This doesn't look good. You know, oh my gosh, this thing fits no matter what size you are. It doesn't matter. And it goes great with jeans. So that's my favorite.
Great. And I can certainly understand that, because I wear a lot of black as well. And so what are the shoes that your feet like wearing? Now, you've already given us a hint about your booty shoes.
Well, that's my outfit, but let me tell you about cute. So my feet love these leopard print Converse sneakers that I bought that are absolutely adorable. And I kick around in them all the time. And every one of my friends is like, that outfit is so cute, because they love those leopard sneakers. So they are my thing. They're low top, so not high top, but they're Converse. So yep, I'm kicking with the Converse. I got my Chucks in, and I'm sporting them. I have a couple pair. I have a white pair, but the leopard ones are my ultimate favorite.
So I'm definitely, the next time I see you in person, I'm definitely going to look for those. And so tell our listeners where they can find you. Now, I should mention all of your information, as well as mine, are in the show notes, but tell our listeners where they can find you.
Yes. So just my name, KamieLehmann.com. That will take you to my website. We're actually getting a new website as I'm speaking with you today. We're having a new updated one built, but right now, everything you need to find me is on the current one. And I would absolutely love to connect with you. I actually have a freebie. I have a free gift, and that is a PDF on how to build a brand strengthening podcast interview to attract your ideal audience and client. So that's a freebie that's on my website that you can jump on and take advantage of.
Well, I'm definitely going to look for that. Kamie, I can't thank you enough. This has been an amazing time for me. I've really enjoyed hearing about the podcast school, and your coaching is phenomenal. I thank you so very much.
And thank you again. Congratulations to you on your brand new podcast. I cannot be more excited. I'm having like a pinch me moment right now, to be honest with you. And I'm just so excited for you, and just taking this journey with you and being able to experience step by step as I watch you grow and step into your next best, greatest version of yourself. And I just want to tell the listeners here today, our theme of our podcast school is: you will never know a million people, but 1 million people will know you. And all you need to do to make that happen is launch a podcast.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Anne.